If your income stops the moment you stop working, you don't have a business. You've built yourself a high-stress job that stops the moment you stop. Now, if you're a practitioner working in a clinic who's got a waiting list months out, or if you're a coach who's online and you're tired of being on Zoom calls all day long, these 5 steps are going to help you escape that so you can actually make more money, get your time back, and help a lot more people. My name is Zuriel Kim. I'm the CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. I help health practitioners and coaches scale their businesses. For the past 20 years, that's exactly what I've been doing. I built and sold my own multiple 7-figure online health business. And now for the past 8 years with Healthpreneur, I've been helping thousands of health practitioners and coaches build 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses themselves. And a big part of what we do is helping them do so without the grind. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 things that you're going to want to pay attention to. 1, we're going to look at the calendar trap that keeps you trading time for money. 2, I'm going to show you what the leverage ladder looks like and the 5 steps to move through. And 3, the 1 move you can make this week to move up the ladder so you can buy back a little bit more of your time. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the calendar trap. Here's the thing, is in a service-based business, your time becomes the biggest bottleneck in the growth of the business. So if you look at your calendar and it's full, here's the thing to recognize, is that a full calendar is a full cage. It's not this like, yes, I'm booked solid, this is great for business. It's, oh my God, I have no time, where did my life go? That's the reality of having a full calendar. And unfortunately, in a service-based business, that happens because a lot of us have been taught in order to help other people, we have to trade our time. And this is the big thing that we have to think about and move away from, is your client's results and your time should have nothing to do with each other. Yes, I understand that, right? People need your service, they need your expertise, but it doesn't have to be delivered and congruent with how much time you spend with them. That's what I'm going to walk you through as we move through this video. Okay, so now that we've covered the calendar trap, let's actually talk about what the leverage ladder looks like and the 5 rungs to be aware of. Now, the goal here is not to look at, okay, I'm at rung 1, I'm going to jump to rung 5. It's to understand, like, I just have to move up 1 rung at a time, because every single time you do that, you will buy back your time, you'll create more freedom, and you'll actually create more leveraged impact in the process. So if we look at level 1 or rung 1, it's very simply one-on-one work. This is where you get paid whatever it is, $150 for an hour. You spend an hour with a client, you get paid. They get helped when you're with them, you get paid. When you're not with them, you don't get paid and they don't get helped. It's basically an unsustainable, unscalable model. This is the basic place where all of us start as service providers. And this is the first thing that we have to move away from if we want to buy back our time. I will say though, that it's very important to start here. So this is great for skill building. It's important to be in the trenches and kind of seeing what's going on, like learning how to actually help people. And it's a very important place to start. I think a lot of people, especially online, they try to skip this and pretend they're experts by using ChatGPT to come up with nonsense. It's like, no. Like, you as a health expert, if you're watching this, if you're a health expert or coach, you've been doing this for a long time, the benefit you have is that you've been working one-on-one with people for years. And now it's like, okay, cool. You have this knowledge and this expertise. Now we can take that and start to move into the second rung. So again, this is the first rung. The second rung that we want to think about moving into is productized service. So think of this as like lab testing with finding results, right? So for instance, you get paid $150 an hour. Okay, let's just say that. But if you have somebody do lab tests and those lab tests cost $750, like a full panel, like, the whole thing, there's margin in that for you. Like your hard costs, like your cost of that service is not $750, at least it shouldn't be. So maybe it costs you $300 to send out for those tests. You charge $750, okay? So your margin on that's $450. So now you have leverage in that margin, and it has nothing to do with your time, right? You're basically the conduit for providing that to your patient or client. So you take that $750 and then maybe you have the finding results, right? So you're $750 for lab test, another $150 on top of that for the finding results. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about productized service. It's this combination of a little bit of leverage through a product or a lab test like this, or imaging or something like that. And then we have your service or your time, your expertise layered on top of that. So that's the second rung. So as we move from rung 2 to rung 3, now we start to think about working with clients in a group setting. And this is where I think most people need to really consider starting, because this is where you create the most amount of impact. you have a tremendous amount of leverage. And again, this is a mindset shift more than anything. Again, a lot of people believe that one-on-one is best, but here's my thinking. If you ever have a patient or a client who's like, well, I just want more one-on-one. It's like, hey, I totally understand that, but just so I'm clear, are you looking for more one-on-one, or are you wanting clarity on exactly what to do for your specific situation? Because that's what everyone wants. They're not looking for one-on-one. They don't want it, like, unless they're looking for story time and just having someone listen to their story forever. What people want is clarity, so they know exactly what's going on and exactly what to do next. So if that's the case, is there any reason to doubt that working in a group setting with other people just like you would not be able to get that clarity? Because I've been working in groups as a coach, as a business mentor with thousands of clients over the years, and I host group calls with 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, 150 people. And when they're done properly, and I'm just using a call as an example, there is a way to give people more personalized attention than they would get in a one-on-one setting. And the beautiful part of being in a group is that, especially if, again, everyone's in the same kind of track, they have the same condition, they want the same outcome, is that if someone asks the question, and let's say there's 10 other people on the call, that person's question is most likely something a lot of other people would benefit from. They might be like, that's actually a good question. I was not thinking about that. Or I wanted to ask that, but I was afraid. So the answer to that individual's question now serves everybody else. So group is massively important for leverage, but here's the other thing too, is that it creates a collective community that is infinitely more powerful than one-on-one work. And this, I've seen this over the past 20 years. This is something I will take to the grave. People do better in communities than in isolation. We know that isolation kills, community heals. So why would a container, a coaching program, some type of business where you bring people together be worse for them? It's generally going to be better for them. I remember when I used to work out at F45. F45 was a group-based training center. Now, I work one-on-one with a trainer now. And when I compare my level of effort now compared to back then, I was actually probably putting in more effort back at F45 because I was in a room with 25 other people and I had to keep up, right? With my trainer, we can chat, we can, I still obviously do the work, but it's a different vibe, it's a different environment. So group is it's the third rung that we want to consider moving into. And this is where everything starts to change. It's the same effort. It's the same time for you. You're speaking the same words in the same amount of time, but it's impacting infinitely more people. So that's called leverage. Okay, so now we go up one level higher, and here we can consider hybrid. So a hybrid is, you know what? I don't just want to do group. I still want to offer one-on-one, and that's totally cool. You're more than welcome to doing that. So here it's group plus one-on-one. And the one-on-one, what I would recommend is please consider something called office hours. Now, I used to have a hybrid in our HBA coaching program, and this is many, many years ago. So what it looked like is we had a lot of group coaching calls throughout the week, and then I would offer office hours once a week. So office hours looks like a 2-hour, let's call it like this on the calendar. You have a 2-hour time block. In this case, it was 2 hours, and I would have 6 20-minute increments. So these would be 20 minutes. What could happen is somebody could book in and they could say, I want to book in for this time slot. And then someone else would book in for this time slot. And those would be one-on-one 20-minute conversations. We use a framework for those called the 3 C's, which I probably have in another video somewhere. But essentially it's like, let's get into it. I don't need story time. Let's move into it. But here's the thing that happened is that all of these one-on-one conversations were the same things I was talking about on our group calls. And so I started to think to myself, why am I spending 2 hours on my Fridays dealing with one-on-one conversations that we would handle just as effectively in our group calls? And so I got rid of it, and it made no difference for our clients. And it bought me back 2 hours. And again, it's not to say that I'm not saying I don't care about my clients. Of course I do. I'm always trying to think about how do I best serve them, but in a way that doesn't make me want to jump off a bridge. Because if all of your time is tied to their results, then you're stuck at the umbilical cord of that. So if you want to do hybrid, I would recommend you fix a time block once every 2 weeks. So here's the thing. I don't recommend once a week, because if you're in a hybrid model and you offer group coaching calls and one-on-one office hours, well, what do you think people are going to prioritize? The one-on-one. So you cannibalize the group calls. If you're going to use office hours, make it a special opportunity. Once a month, once every 2 weeks at the most, a 2-hour time block, you set it. Thursdays, 1 to 3, Wednesdays, 4 to 6, whatever's best for you. And they fit themselves into your calendar. If someone can't make it, guess what? They can't make it. You're not going to reorganize your life just to cater to someone because they had to take their kids to soccer practice. It's not going to happen, okay? So a hybrid can be very effective. I still do hybrid in our mastery programs. So our mastery programs where we work with our clients who are doing high 6 and 7 figures. And there's a little bit more like advisory there. So it's like, hey, here's a specific thing going on with my leadership team or my, whatever that, those office hours can be very meaningful for that. So typically the more advanced or complex situations in terms of the clients you're working with, office hours could have their place. So that's rung number 4. Finally, the 5th rung is assets. This is where I get really excited. And this is where I think you're going to buy back the most amount of your time, because this allows you to get paid for what you've built, not what you do. And this, for me, my big aha on this was when I started my first business online in 2005. I had a client who said, I was working as a trainer and nutritionist at the time. And I had a client who said, why don't you put your voice on tape? And I was like, what do you mean by that? This is just when the iPod had come out. And so eventually what I ended up doing was recording a full 12-week workout program on GarageBand on my computer. And it turned it into an MP3 audio guided workout series. And so what that allowed me to do was now I could give my clients this whole workout program that I didn't have to be there with, because they had me on their headphones, be like, okay, cool. We're going to start off with a 5-minute warm up, start jogging on the spot. Great. We're going to get into and I walked them through the exact workout as if I was there with them. So this is an example of creating an asset. An asset is, think of it as a product. You're productizing your knowledge. You're productizing your service. You look at, what do I do with my clients? And it could be as simple as a starting point. Like the group and the hybrid and the assets, they all tie together. Because in a group-based program, you're going to have a curriculum. And a curriculum is an asset. It's thinking, okay, well, what do I tell my clients to do? What do they need to know? Let me shoot a video. And that video is going to work on your behalf 24/7. So I have clients that the first time I meet them online, they're like, man, it's so interesting to meet you because I feel like I go to bed with you every night. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, like I watch your videos, like part of the curriculum in my bed. I'm like, okay, cool. Hope your husband's okay with that. But that's an example of an asset. So an asset is something that's built once and it works for you over and over and over again. Like this video on YouTube is an example of an asset. I create the video once, I post it, it will live forever. That's where you have the most amount of leverage. Now, it's not about saying you have to move a service-based business into selling products, because I don't fundamentally believe that's going to help people achieve the results that they want, because transformation is really going to come from the accountability. What they're signing up for is not buying a product that they go through on their own. They're signing up for having a guide, a Sherpa, some type of accountability to get the transformation that they want, right? Most people don't do anything left to their own devices with even the best assets, videos, products, etc. So the assets are really not in and of themselves. If you're building out a service-based coaching business or in your practice, it's not this is all I'm doing. It's kind of an adjunct to the service you're providing. So now it's just multiplying your leverage. We're moving away from trading time for money. We're considering, how do we add in group? How do we consider maybe a hybrid model if we want to? But all along the way, we're thinking about, how do we start to create assets? Where am I repeating myself more than once? And how do I turn this into an asset, a video, a document, a checklist, something that can work on your behalf, that is something you built from your IP, your intellectual property. So what I want you to think about is that every one of these rungs buys you back more time, right? And so naturally, if we were to consider the move from one-on-one to assets, like if you went from, like what I did when I was coming online in 2005, is I went from 12 to 14 hours a day of one-on-one work to selling products online, which were essentially assets that I built. Now that's a complete departure, like a complete severing of any kind of my time and service. Now, obviously I had to market and build the business. So like there's other stuff there, but in terms of the actual client delivery, that was a complete severing of my time. Now, I'm not saying we need to move in that direction, but I'm saying that every single jump we make is going to buy you back more time, and it's going to create more space in your life. And what should happen as a result in this process is your clients should also get better results, not worse results. So what I'd like you to do right now is just think about, okay, which rung are you on? So right now, if you're, mostly in the one-on-one, you're just going to circle the one-on-one. That's fine, right? And your goal is not to jump from one-on-one to assets. Your goal is simply, let me get to the next rung. Now, if you don't know what productized service could look like for you, then that's fine. Like maybe you don't even offer that. Maybe that's not applicable in your case. And you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go right into building out a group-based program or solution for my clients. And that's totally okay as well. Okay, so the final thing we want to talk about here is what's the one move you're going to make this week? So as we just alluded to, number one is we want to identify what's the next rung that we're going to shoot for. Okay. The second thing I want you to think about is how do you articulate your offer? So one of the ways we can identify whether or not we are selling time or an outcome is to simply answer this statement. I help target market achieve X goal, right? That's a very simple way of articulating what you do at a very basic level. And then you can add in without or even if, like, so I help health practitioners build scalable businesses online without the grind or guesswork, as an example. What I don't say is I'm a business mentor, right? Or I provide one-on-one coaching, or I'm a nutritionist. Cool, awesome. Like, you have to always think about what is the outcome you're providing for your clients. It's not about like tick for tat, time for dollars. I'm this expert. I help you kind of figure out your nutrition. No one cares about that, right? They come to you for an outcome. Third is, as we're doing this, I want you to set one measurable outcome. So the measurable outcome here is, let's say you're working 40 hours a week. And specifically client delivery, and overall in your whole business, it's 60 hours a week. All right, cool. So let's say the measurable outcome is I'm working 60 hours a week total. I want to get this down to 50 hours a week as a starting point. If I can buy back 10 hours a week, maybe I can have a life again, right? So maybe that's the measurable goal as a starting point. It doesn't have to be that, but it can be something, some type of measurable outcome, so you know you're moving in the right direction. And then fourth is, once you're a little bit more clear on what this could look like, whether it's a hybrid, group, productized service, whatever it is you're moving through, the easiest way to just run this is we use something called a fast cash campaign. It's actually something we give to all of our clients when we first start working with them. If you have existing assets, like a patient list, email list, social following, a community of people who know they can trust you, offer this to your warm audience. Right? You don't need to go to like run ads to cold traffic to people who don't know you. So no, it's like you have people sitting underneath your nose who are probably like chomping at the bit for something different, unique, better than what they've currently experienced, because they already have the relationship with you, whether that's they've already paid you or they kind of know you from being inside your community. It's much easier to make that work. So all you're going to do is, like, again, you can run this fast cash campaign. Again, I'm not going to give you the whole thing here for the sake of time, but it's essentially going to be email, DMs, SMS, whatever we're using to make this offer, being very clear about what this thing is. We put it in front of those people, and the right ones are like, yeah, this sounds pretty good. As an example, when I was moving online back in 2005, I made the decision to kind of cut back my work hours. So I'm like, I need to focus on building this business. I need to focus on buying back my time and moving up this ladder. I emailed and had a conversation with a number of my clients who I wanted to continue working with. And I said, hey, I need to cut back my hours for this reason. I'm still going to be working with a number of clients in this fashion. Are you interested in this new offer, which is essentially me kind of working with them in a hybrid model where it's a little bit online, a little bit in person? Some people said yes, some people said no. Right? But it was so much easier because I'm already working out with them. Like, let me just ask them the question, right? So like, tap into that warm list, those patients, those clients you're already dealing with, and just present this to them. You'll be surprised that a lot of them will be like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's go. Or some are like, nah, it's not for me. That's fine. You don't need a million people. You just need proof of concept. And that's how we're going to start. So I'll finish with this. One mistake to avoid is what a lot of health practitioners and experts typically do, which is overthink this, and they want to get everything perfect. They have to have all their videos and assets perfect. No, you don't, right? If you're shooting videos, get on Loom, just make it ugly. Who cares? No one gives a crap about professional blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Just get it going. Do not let perfection hold you back, because it's selfish. You're going to have a lot of people that can be benefiting from your help who are not getting helped because you're getting in your own way. So don't make that mistake. Just move, just get it going. Okay. So as we wrap this up, I want you to think about, like, when you look at your calendar should support your life, the lifestyle that you want to build. And remember, your business should support your life, not the other way around, right? Like, if your business is not allowing you to live the life you want to live, you're going to build a business you end up resenting. And that's not a fun place to be. So I hope this video has found you well. I hope these 5 rungs on the leverage ladder make sense to you. Again, you know what your goal is for this week. If you're a health practitioner who's already doing 5 to 10K per month, whether that's online or offline, and you want to scale your business online specifically, you may want to check out our $1 million coaching model, which is exactly how we help thousands of people just like you scale their businesses online without the grind or guesswork. That video is over here. The link is also in the description. Thanks for hanging out. If you've enjoyed this, I'll see you in the next one.